I see big recession coming. A lot of people don't, they may think that things are doing good because actually the economy's not bad right now. A lot of things are turning around. The question is when does the Federal Reserve bubble pop finally? Because that's what everybody's been waiting on, probably at least half of my life, since I understood the difference between actual money that's based on gold or commodities, or even the GDP of the manpower of a country, what they're worth, but to base money on the fact that you just print it and then loan it to yourself and then print some more when you need some more. There's no wealth behind it. And when you're seeing the actual cash on the streets, just penny by penny float away, somebody somewhere is accumulating massive amounts of wealth while the money becomes worthless.
Yeah, and if I could dovetail in on that, the Genius Act, it's about taking the US dollar to a global level and replacing that debt with a new issuance. They're going to call it a dollar not to spook everybody. If they called it like the black coffee stablecoin, you would freak out that your money just disappeared. But since it's called a dollar and it's just going to replace digitally, and here they even say issuers must adhere to a 1-to-1 reserve backing with anti-money laundering, AML protection, regular audits. Oh, if you're going to want to access that, are going to have to submit to all types of KYC. You think that yellow star that you need to not wear on your clothing, but on your driver's license, that is going to be totally tied in for you to access that system or not. As we move down this chain here of a couple of years, if you don't have that yellow star on your driver's license, you are not going to be able to access this. This comes directly into this whole AML KYC, and to open an account, withdraw money, use credit cards, etc. You're going to have to prove your ID, but they're not going to allow you to do the old ID. You're going to be forced to push in and get the new one. So we'll see how that works. And this stablecoin regulation is going to be a worldwide thing because it has to be swappable around the world. You think they're going to get people to go work and set up new grow zones in North Africa if they can't pay them on something that's worth $1 somewhere else? Nobody's going to work and take that big hit when they try to transfer money. This is swapping out the old debt for something new that is supposed to replace it, but something is going to need to hyperinflate away for this to work. That's the whole thing. Is I keep asking the questions, like that reporter should have pressed a little more as well. Like, where's the debt going to go? Okay, you're backing it with what? Now, as far as I know, there's a couple different backends. They're going to still use U.S. Treasuries, which are just as worthless. They're going to try to put some gold in there and slide that in. Ooh, gold backed. But the main thing is each individual company, the land holdings they have, the machinery they have, the factories they have, and the output that they produce, just like we have on the stock market evaluation for companies, although price per earnings per share and all that stuff that makes no sense anyway on how you can run a company that's 70 times, more value than they're producing per year. I was like, what? How are you? Some of these things are just insanity anyway in the whole stock market arena. But again, who values that? Because the amount that they have is going to be the amount that they can issue. Now, that's the craziest thing is companies will now be allowed to issue their own stablecoin. So, for an example, Costco, they're going to be able to issue their own Costco stablecoin, which is a one for a $1. Now, you'll be able to use that in some sort of swap on a credit card system, or you could just use their tokens paid back just like you do with any bank. Like every single institution to become its own lending bank based on the stablecoin issuance. This is another shocker. So who's to say that, Costco has the best accounting and that you paid that off and they know that they can trace it on the blockchain for sure. It gets into such an opaque, such a strange road we're going down. Like the banks are a little more regulated. They're going to kind of do what they still do, but they're going to swoop in everybody's real estate banking, car mortgage or car loans, mortgages on homes, buildings, commercial real estate. That all counts as value too against what they can hold and issue in new stablecoin issuance. Now the government's the big one, obviously they're going to try to be digitizing, for a better term, in a real world asset class to try to combine all the value of everything in America owned by the government. Now, currently we're limited to just those treasury bills and how the government operates. But in this bizarro stablecoin world that we're moving to, think about the land value of all government held land across either the United States or all those military bases we have everywhere around the world. All these places are all going to have a value assigned to it, plus the minerals in the ground. Even if they're not proven reserves, or if they're getting into, some sort of exploration, oh, they think it's there, they've used LiDAR, they can confirm it. Okay, that has a value. So these numbers are going to just get ridiculously inflated, like unbelievable inflation on this thing. They're going to do like quadrillions of dollars for the land holdings and mineral rights and all these things that are proven in America, the water rights, the lumber, all these things, quadrillions of dollars. This 36 trillion you see now, that's nothing. That's peanuts. That's nothing in comparison to what we're about to see, this tidal wave of new issuance just out of nothing, out of thin air. And I wish that reporter would have gone further. And again, I would be sitting in the room just bothering the crap out of people going, tell me this. What do you mean by that? That doesn't make sense. How can you issue this? How are you going to get earnings off this? So another thing that they're going to try to boost the stock market with is, okay, some of these companies got 50 times earnings, 70 times earnings. All right, well, they're going to let them run, and that will be their valuation. Not actually what they produce and their profit and loss sheet and like what they manufacture and, what they're holding for machinery and land and factories and sort of thing. They're going to let them run the full gamut of the valuation, which is insane also. How do you do that's hyperinflation when you allow that to occur? And then you can issue stable coins against that. Like, and MicroStrategy and BlackRock, and they're going to become their own Bitcoin lending banks at the same time of all this stablecoin thing. So I am absolutely unequivocally saying we are at the precipice of a global financial reset. As soon as this Genius Act passes, now I'll read a little more for you here. They pretend like it's bipartisan. Oh, everybody's fighting. They've already agreed, if you're going to get your payday for doing this here. So it's actually called the Guiding Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins. But again, it is going to be a worldwide standard. It's not going to be just here in America. It's already been set and slated for across this planet. ECB, or European Central Bank, they're going to do a digital token that's a central bank digital issued token. And by the way, remember how they flagged everybody and flogged us over the head and made us adopt all their garbage website, thing? Oh, you got to opt in this and all that. You couldn't just have a website. You had to like do all the cookie management and everything. Well, they're going to be doing the same thing with banking and issuance of their central bank digital currencies. So you're going to have to adopt into their system, and they're going to have to adopt into our system, which means what? Oh, you're going to have more ID. You're going to have to prove who you are. They're going with a zero trust on this, meaning they don't trust you, even if it's you. You have to prove that you're yourself. And so this is where it comes into a whole nother layer here. To get access to your money, they're going to a zero trust or a trustless system. That means assume they're a fraud, assume they're a thief, assume you're a counterfeiter. That's what, and then that's guilty until proven innocent. And then you have to prove your identity. So every single transaction that you do in this new system, once it's emerging here, you are guilty until proven innocent, and you have to prove. And then if you have the wrong type of ID, you won't be able to prove that you're you. And I am absolutely 1000% saying you are going to require a retinal scan to do this in the future. Your fingerprints right now on your face, and that's not going to be enough. They're even talking at least some, I don't know how true this is, but you're going to have to put your hands down and there's the veins. Each of us have different veins in the forearms and thing, and they're going to get a scan of even the veins in your arms. That's how much they're talking about, because you won't be able to, your voice can be replicated, your face can be replicated, all this new AI technology. The only biological way to prove you as you is through your biology. And are you willing to give that away just to access your bank? I don't know. So over on Cointelegraph, they have a really good rundown on this. Massive move in Washington. This is truly one of the biggest things in money to occur in the last 100 years here. Okay, so when we got the US dollar Bretton Woods Agreement and all that after World War II, that would be the next largest thing that would have occurred. This is a reshaping of the entire financial system on the planet. I cannot overstate how dangerous this is for all of us. There's no way to pay the debt back, so they're going to have to do something to hyperinflate it away and then reset and bring out a new standard. And this is the beginning. So if you haven't seen, there's a lot of states that are taking on Bitcoin treasuries as well. So let me read you here the key provisions of the Genius Act. So the payment of the stablecoin, the bill defines a payment of stablecoin as a digital asset, and it's supposed to be pegged as a fixed monetary unit, i.e., $1 equals $1, or approved high quality liquid assets. So they already substituted it right there. First, are all this big, bold language. It's got to be pegged. It's a monetary value. It's a payment 1-to-1. We guarantee it's 1-to-1. Oh, wait. But by the way, you could use another high quality asset that's liquid, i.e., gold, silver, your digitized title for your property. Yeah, because that can be fractionalized then. And that will be liquid. Like right now, the hardest thing is you can't get your house liquid. Like if you own your house, it's your house is an illiquid asset pretty much, unless you do that one giant sell, and then you get capital gains tax and everything. But with digitization, you can rip off a piece of that, making it liquid, and that's the whole thing. We're going to get so scammed by this thing. I'm telling you, we're going to get scammed. And then they go into the licensing and the oversight. Clear procedures for institutions seeking licenses to issue stablecoins. Well, that's pretty much every company over a certain valuation, every government. And then you're going to be the federal requirements. Well, where's all this federal requirements and oversight led to right now? An enormous ballooning debt of 37 trillion, sending us into a hyperinflation. Gee, thanks for the oversight. Oh, you're so good at your jobs. Yeah, right. It's just like a 2.0, but more control over your everything you own financially. And here's what it gets. Like reserve requirements right now, like banks need to have supposedly 10%, but everything's just so fictitious right now. But the stablecoin issuers are going to be mandated to have a 1-to-1 reserve ratio. Again, some sort of liquid assets, cash, short-term U.S. treasuries, central bank deposits, or the digitized ownership of every American citizen into one pool, basically. And this is where it comes into. These are the reserve requirements. They need to coattail. There's something that's going to coattail with the stablecoin issuance. They're going to have, they call it layering. There's going to be another layer there that allows the digitization of assets, i.e. from banks that are holding mortgages. And that will be another layer that they need. Here's your consumer protection. In the event of insolvency, holders of payments of stablecoins are granted priorities over other claims to the issuer. Bullshit is what I'm going to say about that. They can talk to their blue in the face, but you're still going to be last in line. Are you kidding me? These broker dealers, you really think they're going to lose money? Do you think our government's going to lose money? Oh, come on. Really? Like even today, I hope everybody saw David Rogers Webb and the whole great taking thing. Like if you own a stock and you think you own the shares, you don't. You're the last one paid out. The broker's in front of you. The clearinghouse is in front of them. The issuers themselves. In case of a debt, they can get it back, buybacks, forced buybacks. You're like 3 or 4 steps down, even though you think you own shares in a company. You're the last to be paid. You'll never get your money back. I like it the way my grandparents had a Campbell Soup. They were very invested in Campbell Soup. My grandpa worked for Campbell Soup. He took part of his salary in Campbell Soup stocks and options. But they had the actual real paper ones, the real paper. And those validated ownership. And you had that, you were the first one to get paid because I have it right here. It's like $1 in your hand, not a digital screen. If you have the paper dollar, you're the first one that gets paid because you got the dollar. Consumer protection, the insolvency thing, again, that's a gray area. And the last thing here, the regulatory jurisdiction, payment of stable coins, they're not going to be classified as securities because that would, make corporations pay more taxes. And we couldn't have that, of course. Investment companies, nah, they couldn't be taxed either. Are you kidding me? You think BlackRock's going to get extra tax? No. So the regulatory boundaries for this are only, quote unquote, for certain issuers and investors. See, this is already a scam from the beginning, the way they're writing this thing out. I mean, it's so scammy that, that snake oil salesman actually looks like a guardian angel in comparison to this. There's no words for it. It's already set to fail from the beginning. It's set to strip wealth from everybody. And it's set to prop up these corporations with less of a tax liability and allow them to literally mint their own money, for a better term, based on false valuations of their companies through these ridiculous evaluations we have in the stock market today. Kylie, can you sort of see where this thing is going to take us? The people at the bottom are going to get wealth extracted the most. Those at the top are going to get incredibly wealthy and the most protected. There's going to be a firewall layer between. Oh, it's an AI agent host. Oh, you can't. Oh, the office is closed. Oh, we've gone AI. And there's going to be a disconnect. I swear I'm going to be living, it'll be like a Bitcoin citadel. You'll be on high on a hill looking down. All those people trying to call the help numbers. But anyway, I digress. This is a Charlie Foxtrot times 10 here. And the Securities Exchange Commission and all these SEC and everything. I can't believe that there's not more scrutiny on it. And, Ransom, I'm glad you brought it up that at least there's some reporters out there asking for some clarification of this. This is the most ill will written monetary piece. This is going to go down in history as the largest wealth transfer, an absolute fleecing of the American public, global public, under this guise of protecting you and issuing stable coins. Oh my gosh. I actually cringe when I read this thing. Like, they're really trying to steal our money and steal everything we own with this. And then Bitcoin's going to come to a point. It's already so far past anyway. I don't think very few individuals can purchase a full Bitcoin right now. It's only in the realms of governments. I did this whole expose it was an hour-long report. Sovereign wealth funds, family offices that are in charge of at least $100 million in their family office, governments like sovereign nations, corporations, and exchange-traded funds. Those are the only ones who can afford like $110,000 Bitcoin. So those are the major players that are going to corner the Bitcoin market. And probably between here and 2028, they're buying about 3,000 Bitcoin a day currently amongst them. But this seems like it's going to ramp up. This is going to be an illiquid supply, especially when we get to the next halving in 2028. The 450 Bitcoin that's being mined currently today is going to slash to 225 Bitcoin. And at that point, institutional adoption, it'll be over $1 million at that point for BTC, in my opinion, as well as others. But then there's going to be no liquidity in there. I mean, every single Satoshi that comes on market will be swooped up through an algorithm, and you will be able to get premiums on the Bitcoin that you sell. So let's say the price of Bitcoin is about $1 million. You might even, put an ask out there at like 1.5 million or 1.2 million, 1.3, and somebody will hit it because they just want to get the unbuyable asset. This is where it goes. But again, some hands are going to loosen up when a Bitcoin gets to $1 million. Are you going to hold it? I don't know. I might be on the beach somewhere. If I had Bitcoin, I missed that thing. I can't believe it. I was like that dude who bought pizzas, and I should have bought Bitcoin back in the day. I don't have any. I don't even have a cryptocurrency, but I just study it because I like the way you can see the future bending with it. I never believed in it, and now, it's everywhere all the time, But anyway, I'll let you go, man. I've been rambling too long. Excuse me, Ransom.